You.
Good morning.
Last time you were here, there were urgent efforts underway to save a bank. Today, again, urgent efforts. This time, First Republic. We are hearing it could be seized by the FDIC, but there are also efforts to find a buyer to absorb it. What are you hearing?
This is what a modern bank run looks like. Let me tell you what companies in my district are saying. They're saying that payroll companies are telling them, move your deposits out of First Republic. You're not going to be able to have access to the accounts. That's why I think it is so important that we guarantee all bank depositors. I had said this last time I was on. There's $8 trillion, Margaret, in uninsured deposits in these banks. $10 trillion is insured. Until we guarantee them and we can charge a fee, we run the risk that they're...
Congress.
Well, the Congress, Congress. I've been working with Senator Rubio on this, on a proposal to say, look, pay a fee and have some guarantee on these deposits, because otherwise, what's going to happen? Regional banks, they're going to be insecure, or people are going to be concerned, and they're going to start to consolidate into the top banks. And you have a lot of these payroll companies telling these companies to move to the bank. So I believe the FDIC is doing fine and well now, but we've got to prevent this from happening again. And the best way to do it is to guarantee these deposits.
Well, in the meantime, what you're talking about takes a long time. We're talking immediate sense here for First Republic. And some progressive Democrats have objected to the idea that some of the big banks who can afford to buy little ones, some of the systemically important ones, that they should be prevented from stepping in to buy up First Republic. Is that where you fall?
No, I think that the FDIC needs to look at the lowest cost alternative. That's their mandate. And right now, they may need to work with banks and private capital to save First Republic. I mean, that is the state we're in. But we can move quickly. Look, in the CARES Act, we actually said that all deposits were guaranteed for transaction accounts. I think if we do something like that quickly, we prevent this going again. We also need reform. I mean, look at what has happened, Margaret. Every time the economy heats up, we somehow say, deregulate, deregulate, and it never works out. In 2018, the deregulation basically sent a signal to the Fed to stop the oversight on these banks.
Well, there was a lot in that report that I want to get into that just came out. But first off, one of the things blamed was poor management. Gregory Becker, who you knew, the former CEO of SVB, he had donated to your campaign as well. When he was at the helm, did you think at the time it was a problem that he was also on the board of the chief regulator there, the San Francisco Fed?
I did not know at the time, but I do think now that that should not be allowed. I mean, no, I didn't have a sense back then that Silicon Valley Bank was going to have a challenge. Obviously, there was mismanagement. One reform we should have is that bank executives should not be on the board of the Fed, regional Fed, that's overseeing them, and I think that's a lesson. I also think there needs to be a clawback of his bonus. There needs to be a clawback of executive compensation and far tougher rules on bank executives who have failed banks.
And yet the momentum doesn't seem to be there in Congress, either from the Democratic leader in the Senate or in the Republican-led House. Why?
Well, there should be momentum for three things. One, the clawbacks on these executives. That could be bipartisan. Two, for greater oversight and the rules on these banks. I mean, we basically told these banks not to regulate. But the big place, and I'm working on a bipartisan basis, protect the regional banks. That's going to help regional community banks the most in mainstream America. That's the biggest risk to the economy. Look, Margaret, you have 5% interest rate. People are moving out into money market funds. They're moving out of banks. If we don't have a guarantee, we run a real risk across this country.
On this, though, in terms of regulation,